How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a great day because today we have a story of the worst neighbors ever. Do you think you have bad neighbors? Do you think that you know someone who has bad neighbors? Wrong. These are the worst neighbors ever. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we're calling the subscriber who submitted this story Sophia. So anyways, right, this happened a couple years ago. Sophia and her mom and her dad lived on this neighborhood, and the house next to them, it was always going for sale. It always seemed like whenever someone would buy the house, they would immediately try and flip it, as it was actually quite a nice house. Sophia's house was pretty normal. She lived pretty normally, but the house next to her was like an extremely nice house. No one totally knows why that house happened to be there in their neighborhood, but, no complaints. It looks nice, whatever. And it just seemed like they never really had neighbors. So one day, right, Sophia's mom said, hey, someone bought the house a couple weeks ago, and it really does look like they're moving in. We might actually have neighbors for the first time in years. So Sophia and her parents were like, oh, that's pretty cool. We'll make sure to be very, courteous to our new neighbors and, ask them if they need help moving in, maybe invite them over, something like that. So about a week later, there's a moving van, and there's a bunch of people moving boxes into the house. It seems like the neighbors purchased a service where people would come and move the stuff in for them, or at least move the boxes in. Moving's hard. Totally understandable. So then Sophia and Sophia's mom are like, you know what, maybe tonight when all the moving is done and all the dust is settled, you know what, let's do it tomorrow. Tomorrow night, when all the dust is settled, you and I will go over there and we will, knock on the door and we'll just ask them if anything's how everything's going, and then invite them over to dinner, tomorrow night. We'll have them over and it'll be great. So anyways, next day, or at least the next day's night, Sophia and her mom, they walk over to the house, they knock on the door, and there's no response. There is a car in the driveway, though, so Sophia and Sophia's mom are like, okay, well, maybe we'll knock a little bit louder. So they knock a little bit louder, and that's when they hear kind of like a door open, and then footsteps, and then the door handle or the doorknob turns, it opens, and they're greeted by someone who can't be more than 18, 19 years old, so a teenager, right? And Sophia's like, hi there, and Sophia's mom's like, hi, we're your next door neighbors. We just wanted to know how's everything going. And the teenager was actually, she's nice. She's like, hey guys, thank you so much for coming over and saying hello. My name is, Audrey. It's so great to see you guys. My parents aren't here. They're busy. They're always traveling the world doing stuff. They both have pretty intense jobs. So I don't think that they're not gonna be back for a while. Sophia's mom's like, oh, well, that's too bad. I was going to invite all of you guys over for dinner tomorrow night, but maybe if it's just you, if you'd like to come over, it's an open invitation. And Audrey, the teenager who lived next door, was like, I really do appreciate that, but I already have plans. But thank you guys so much for coming over. You guys seem like great neighbors. I was a little nervous, so yeah, I'm excited for you guys to be my neighbors. And I hope everything is good. And with that, Audrey shuts the door. And Sophia and Sophia's mom kind of look at each other like, okay, well, that's fine. Now we don't have to host anyone tomorrow. And we also offered up the invitation, so we are good neighbors. So Sophia and Sophia's mom really think nothing of this. They think, well, this seems like a nice enough girl. And it seems like the neighbors aren't even going to be there a lot, which is kind of a good catch. Because, if they're not there, how bad can they be? Here's the problem in that statement, if you were paying attention. Audrey's, the neighbor girl, parents aren't going to be there often. That doesn't mean she's not going to be there often. And when a 19, 20-year-old has a massive, really fancy house to themselves, and their parents aren't there often, that's actually probably going to be the opposite of good neighbors. Just a little suggestion. So anyways, about a week passes and it's nighttime. It's 9 o'clock. Sophia and her parents are watching a movie together, and that's when they start to hear music. And they start to hear the very, the very faint hum of music. It's a little familiar, but you just can't put your finger on it. It's oh, I've probably heard that song on the radio a million times, but it's not clear enough for me to hear it. So Sophia's like, do you hear music? And Sophia's dad's like, I hear music. And Sophia's mom's gets up, walks out. And Sophia and Sophia's mom walk out to the window where they can clearly see the house, their neighbor. and that's when they can hear the music a little bit more. They lift up the window, and the music is very clear. They see lights, they see a bunch of cars in the driveway of the neighbor's house. They see kind of like lights on. They see people in the backyard. There's a pool in the backyard too. They see some people swimming. They see a bunch of coolers with a ton of grape juice in there. Grape juice, apple juice, all the juice you could imagine, if you know what I mean. And, Sophia and Sophia's mom kind of look at each other. And Sophia's mom's well, that's okay. I mean, she is just, getting used to the house. And I can only imagine. It must be so lonely without your parents there. So, this is fine. I mean, it's 9 o'clock anyways. I mean, people are allowed to enjoy themselves. Then it's 10 o'clock. Then it's 11 o'clock. Then it's 12. Then it's 1 in the morning. And Sophia's like, Mom, I can't go to sleep. And Sophia's mom's like, yeah, I know. The music continues to be loud. They've shut all the doors, but the faint hum is it's just annoying enough to keep them from falling asleep. And so the party is, in fact, even more loud and more rambunctious than it was at 9, 10, or 11, or 12. It seems like people just keep showing up. And Sophia's mom's like, okay, well, you know what? Hopefully this is a one-time thing. Hopefully this is a one-time thing. It doesn't happen a bunch of times. It's fine. People can have parties once in a while. When we threw that, that party for your birthday and people stayed kind of late. And Sophia's like, Mom, that was nothing like this. And Sophia's mom's like, yeah, I know, honey. I'm just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, okay? I'm sorry. Honey, please. I'm trying to give her, the benefit of the doubt here. And so sure enough, around 2:30, they're all able to fall asleep. And, Sophia's parents have to do something the next day. This party was on a Sunday, which is, during the summer, so the kids don't really have a lot to do. Maybe they have a job or something. But the parents get up the next morning, and Sophia's up, and Sophia's like, hi, Mom, hi, Dad. And they're like, because they have to go into work now. And Sophia's like, well, hopefully that was a one-time thing. Otherwise, she seems like a great neighbor. And Sophia's dad's like, I don't know about that, sweetie, but I guess we'll see. And so sure enough, that night, they're sitting and they're finishing the movie. And Sophia's parents are like, you know what? I don't know if we can completely finish this movie, or they were starting a new one. They're watching something. They're like, I don't know if we can really finish this. We got to go to bed early. We definitely did not get an adequate amount of sleep last night. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really know. I'm sorry about that. And Sophia's like, that's fine, Mom. At 8:30, Sophia's dad's like, all right, I think I'm going to go to bed. And that's when they heard it again, the faint hum of music. And Sophia's like, oh no. And Sophia's mom's like, oh no. And Sophia's dad's like, no. They all rush out to see the window. They open it up, and once again, cars start piling in. And they're like, oh my God. Oh my God. No. So sure enough, party, super loud, rambunctious, people everywhere, talking, people jumping in the pool, water splashes. At this point, right, they're able to fall asleep a bit earlier because they try and go to sleep right away. So they're restless in bed for 4 hours, but then they eventually fall asleep. Next morning, Sophia's up and she's like, hi, Mom and Dad. And they're like, except they're going to work, man. And, the next day, right, when they're watching TV and they're very kind of anxiously waiting for noise to happen, for music. And there's no music. There's no noise. And, around 9:30, the parents are like, all right, we're going to go to bed. And Sophia's like, well, there's no party. Maybe this will be the end of the parties, right? So they actually go over to the window and they look. And there are now three cars parked in the driveway. And Sophia's like, there are 3 cars. That's 2 more cars than normal. And then Sophia's mom's like, well, maybe the parents are home. So Sophia, her mom, and her dad walk over to the house, and they knock on the door. And, a new person greets them. And it looks like Audrey, the girl next home. It looks like her, but older. So they assumed, is this Audrey's mom? They say, hey, are you the parents who live here? And, Audrey's mom and dad, who walked up to the door, said, yes, hello there. You must be our neighbors. And Sophia's parents are like, yes, how's it going? This is a great neighborhood. You made a great choice. We're your neighbors right over there. And they point to their house. We'd love to, invite you over to dinner. We're also aware that you're very busy. So anytime works this week. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We're actually just stopping over tonight and leaving tomorrow. We just wanted to make sure that Audrey was doing all right and that things were going smoothly over here. And we got some crazy business stuff to go and do. We really appreciate it, though. You guys seem to be great neighbors from what Audrey has told us. And thank you so much. And can we have your number? Just in case, because, a lot of time Audrey's here by herself, and we just want to make sure she's okay. And, Sophia's parents are like, yeah, okay, we'll take your number. So they take their number, right? And, they give their number to Audrey's parents, and then they pass ways. And Sophia's like, all right, well, I guess if Audrey gets, bad enough, we can always, text her parents. And Sophia's parents are like, yeah, we should be careful, though, because that's gonna be our last trick up our sleeve, if we're being honest. So sure enough, right, and, her parents leave the next morning. Sophia watches as the cars pull out of the driveway. And for, the rest of the summer, there's about, 4 to 5 parties every single week. Sophia's parents get the worst sleep that they have ever gotten in a long time. And it's not great. It was not a great summer. So, yeah, it was a pretty tough summer for them, but the school year was starting. And, Sophia's parents were like, you know what, this is going to be good because, Audrey probably is going to go away to college, or if she's college nearby, she at least won't be going hard every single day. And Sophia was pretty happy about this because, she goes to the high school there and, she needs to wake up pretty early and she needs to, do her work at night. And so it was the first week of school, and there was no parties, no nothing. Things were turning out pretty good. They were pretty happy about this. So Sophia one day was just in her room. It was 9 at night, and it was on a Tuesday. And she was writing up a lab report for her chemistry class. And that's when she heard the all too familiar buzz of music. That was a little too faint, but was definitely coming from somewhere. And she's like, please tell me I'm just imagining things. Because she was, very anxiously waiting for, one of these, crazy parties to, annoy her parents, right? She was just waiting for one of these things to happen. So she's like, I'm probably just imagining things. I'm probably just coming up with things. And that's when her, her mom, Sophia's mom, bursts through the door and says, it's happening, Sophia. It's happening. She isn't going home. It's a Tuesday. Oh, my God. And at this point, right, all three of them rush out to the window, they look out, and it is one of the crazy parties that they had in, I don't know, that they had over the summer. And Sophia's like, okay, well, Mom, it is late August. Maybe she goes to one of those colleges that start in the middle of September. So they're hoping, right? At this point, they're like, Sophia, you might need to start doing your homework earlier just in case this continues to happen. So for the remainder of August, the next couple weeks and the first week of September, these parties happen 3 to 4 times a week, continuously. And Sophia is doing her homework early, but it's getting more and more difficult because as the school year continues on, it's hard. She gets more and more work. And this is when it's midway through September. Sophia is trying to do a project. She has a lab due. Her partners aren't pulling their weight, so Sophia has to pick up the slack. She's stressing out, and that's when it's 9:30. She hears the buzz of music, and she needs at least 2 more hours to finish her work, and she can't concentrate, and she's runs into her mom's room. She's like, Mom, I need to do a I need to do a project, a big lab report. This is a big part of my grade. I need at least 2 more hours to do it. I can't focus with the music. This is ridiculous. Doesn't she go to college or something? It's in the middle of September. No way her college starts in, October or something like that. And, Sophia's mom's like, Sophia, I have bad news. I was just casually talking with Audrey's parents, and Audrey's parents just brought up the fact that she was taking a gap year to pursue her, fashion company, which basically means she's going to be in that house every day pursuing her fashion company, which basically means having people over every night and for the rest of the year. And Sophia's mom's like, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. And that's when Sophia's dad is like, I know what to do. Real quick, the secret word of the day is neighbor or neighbors, whichever one you want to comment. I will try to heart as many of those comments to say neighbor down below. And also, if you want to support the channel at this point or later on, sit down and binge watch some videos and let me know in the comment section what you're doing while you're watching them or how many of the videos you've watched. Thank you guys so much for doing that once again, and let's get back to the story. So anyway, Sophia's dad says, I know what to do. And Sophia's mom and dad look at each other, and they look at Sophia and say, hey, we're going to call the non-emergency line and basically report a party going on. Because there was a rule that, like, passed, I think, like, 10 or something. You can't be making that much noise. And also, it's pretty clearly, like, underage kids with apple juice, the one that you're not supposed to be having if you're underage, right? And so they're like, screw it. Like, we've given her plenty of, like, we've given her chances, like, we got to do it. So anyways, they call up, the non-emergency line. They're like, all right, we'll send someone over there. We'll break it up, like, no problem. And sure enough, like, Sophia feels a little bad, but she watches, and 20 minutes later, this cop car comes up, like, knocks on the door. They see the door open. They see some people in the back start, like, kind of getting nervous, trying to, like, hide all the apple juice, jumping over the fence, trying to disperse, right? And sure enough, within 20 minutes, basically everyone either got in their car and left or jumped over the fence, and the party was completely done. And Sophia was like, I feel bad, but, like, she's done this every day, 4 days a week or whatever, and, I need to work. This is kind of ridiculous. And so Sophia was able to finish up her science project. All good. She got the lab report nice and done. And, the next day, she goes in, submits her project. Life is good. Things are good. And, Sophia comes back, is just waiting with her parents. She doesn't actually have any work that day. It's a Friday night. They go to, like, watch some television together. And they don't hear the typical hum of music that they normally did, because Sophia routinely had them on Fridays. She had them on other random days throughout the week, but she always had them on Fridays. And they were like, oh, it's like 9:30. Like, I'm surprised that, like, there isn't anything going on right now. And Sophia's like, well, we did call the cops on them last time. So they're probably, if they're having anything, they're probably doing it a lot more discreetly, or they're just not doing anything at all. And Sophia's like, I feel a little bit bad. And Sophia's dad's like, Sophia, don't feel bad. Like, this girl next door is taking advantage of her parents' absence and having people over 4 times a week, not even over the summer, which was annoying but understandable to an extent. But during, like, the school year, like, she knows that, like, there are other people in the neighborhood that have jobs, that go to school, that need to do things, that need to go to sleep before 10 at night, Don't feel bad about this. So that made Sophia feel a little bit better. So, she went to sleep, and the next day they woke up, and Sophia and her mom were walking out because Sophia was, like, walking over to the bus stop, and Sophia's mom was walking, to get her, like, to go to her car, and that's when they both stop and turn around, and they look at their house, and their house is covered in eggs. Yes, their house has been egged. If you don't know, a lot of, like, not a lot, actually, very few, but it's like teenagers will show their disrespect by, quote unquote, egging a house, basically taking, eggs, throwing them at them. It's a crime. Don't do it. It's also ridiculous and stupid. Little disclaimer, I've never done that, and I don't have any friends who've ever done that. It's ridiculous. You're an idiot if you do it. Okay, moving on. I just have to say that, right? But that is my honest opinion. So anyway, Sophia and Sophia's mom are looking up. Their entire house is egged. So Sophia's mom's like, oh my God, who could have done this? And Sophia's like, I think I have a suspicion, right? And Sophia turns to her mom and is like, what if, Audrey knows that it was us that turned her in? Sophia's mom's like, what if she knew that? What, like, oh my God, but what if it's someone else? What if there's, like, a criminal organization that's egging your house? Sophia's like, Mom, it is not a criminal organization that decided to throw eggs at our house. It's obviously an angsty teenager. And who's the one angsty teenager who may or may not be upset with us? Because we probably were the ones, that called the police on their party. And Sophia's mom's like, yeah, you're probably right. Well, we got to call someone to clean this up. And, what if this happens again? And Sophia's like, well, if this happens again, we need proof. And, Sophia's mom's like, I have been thinking for a while. Your dad and I have been talking. Maybe this is just the time to pull the trigger and get a security camera. And Sophia's like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. So anyways, they call up 2 people, someone to install security cameras and someone to clean the house. And the person to clean the house comes earlier in the day. Security camera person comes in, the afternoon, and they're talking with Sophia's mom, and Sophia's back, and they look, and, security cameras are put up somewhat discreetly, but they're put around this, like the premises, and the person says, all right, so download this app on your phone and, do this thing on the computer, and you will have, access to these camera feeds. It also will record it. There are also motion sensors. So if you want, you can have a notification whenever there's motion, and also record for like 24 hours. Then it just automatically deletes so that you don't have too much storage. You can also have an option where you pay 99 cents to have whatever, right? So, they go to sleep and they're like, all right, feeling a little bit better about this. And that's when they wake up the next day. And once again, the entire house is egged. Because, they wake up, because they walk out. Sophia and Sophia's mom kind of forgot about the egging that happened last night. But then when they walked out, they were like, oh my God. Because they turn around and once again, their entire house is just covered in eggs that have been pelted at the house, right? Completely covered. Sophia's mom's like, oh my God, I gotta call the cleaning person again. This is so embarrassing. And Sophia's like, Mom, like, let's check the security camera footage. And Sophia's mom's like, well, you'll miss school or something. And she's like, you know what? Today doesn't even matter. Like, we're not doing anything that important. Just say I'm sick. Sophia's mom's like, well, I should really bring you to school. And Sophia's like, Mom, let me help you with this. And Sophia's mom's like, fine, whatever. Calls up the school, says that she's sick. I don't know any parent that would do that, but anyways, her mom did, so we're cool. So Sophia and Sophia's mom goes, probably because Sophia's mom needed help with the technology or whatever. Sophia and her mom walk back in, and they go on the computer. They go to the cameras, and 3 of the 4 cameras have no motion sensor or activity, but there is one. So they go into it. They check the recordings. And it's not like the greatest quality. It's a little grainy, but it is very clear that you can see Audrey at 2 a.m. with a thing of eggs walk over and pelt their house for like 3 minutes and then walk back over. So at this point, Sophia and Sophia's mom are looking at each other, and Sophia's mom's like, well, I'm glad we know who, but what do we do with this? And Sophia's like, well, Mom, you have their parents' text. You have their, their contact message. So Sophia shows her mom how to download the video, and Sophia's mom, sends a text saying, hey, I know you guys are busy, and I don't really I don't know how else to I don't know how you're going to respond to this, but, your daughter has been pelting our house with eggs, and we have video proof of it. So they send the message. Sophia's mom then sends the video attachment, and they wait for a reply. And it's like 8 hours go by when the mom replies and says, our daughter would only pelt your house if you deserved it. And Sophia's mom's like, wait, did Audrey take control of her mom's phone? And Sophia's like, well, that's kind of an extrapolation. Like, I don't know if that's I don't know, Mom. Like, maybe these aren't the greatest people next door. And, they look at it again, and Sophia's mom responds, with a question mark. And Audrey's mom responds, did I not make myself clear, question mark. So at this point, Sophia realizes that, oh, my God, this is not good, right? This is kind of crazy. So Sophia, her mom, and dad all sit down and try and consult each other, and they're kind of just okay, what are we going to do here? I don't totally understand what's going on, right? And they're like, okay, this is kind of crazy. It seems like the parents actually don't care. And, Sophia's like, well, Mom, where did you get that number? And she's like, well, I mean, I have Sophia's mom's number, or I have Audrey's mom's number and Audrey's dad's number. And Sophia's like, well, I only remember you getting Audrey's dad's number. And Sophia's mom's like, yeah, well, when we met the parents, Audrey's dad, gave us his number, and then we gave him ours. And then Sophia's like, okay, well, how did you get Audrey's mom's number? And Sophia's mom's like, oh, well, yeah, well, when we met Audrey the first time, I asked for her parents' number, and she gave me, oh. And Sophia's like, wait, Mom, Sophia or Audrey gave you her mom, quote unquote, number. And Sophia's mom's like, yeah, I'm starting to believe that actually isn't her mom's number. Sophia's like, but her dad's number you got from her dad. And Sophia's mom was like, yeah. So Sophia's like, all right, well then send the exact same text message, but send it to her dad, because I got a feeling that you didn't actually get her mom's number. Sophia's like, Sophia's mom's like, oh, that's not a bad idea. So they do the whole process again. They send a message to the dad, and Sophia's like, well, that means I've been talking to Audrey the whole time. This is so weird. And, Sophia's like, you know what? She's crazy. Don't even worry about it. We got to send a message to her dad, though. So they craft up the same message, basically saying, hey, so sorry to, put you through this, but your daughter's been pelting eggs at our house. We have video proof of it, attached as a video file. I don't really know what to do here. I was hoping that you could, say something or make it stop, basically. And they send a message, and it delivers, and they wait for 12 hours. And, they wake up the next day, and they're like, the dad didn't respond, we're probably going to get pelted again. And sure enough, Sophia and her mom walk out, and they look up at their house, and once again, there's a bunch of eggs all over it, and they check the security camera footage, and once again, sure enough, it is Audrey who went over, threw eggs at her house, and Sophia got on the bus and had a pretty bad day at school because she's like, I feel helpless now, our neighbor's basically holding us hostage like this. We can't do anything. And when Sophia gets back home, her mom was looking at her phone, and she's like, Sophia's like, hey, did you get a response from Audrey's dad? And Sophia's mom's like, no. And then Sophia's mom's like, oh my God, he just responded. And the message basically says, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm currently in Asia right now for business reasons. This text message literally just got to me right now. I'm so sorry this happened. I have no idea. I'm not in the States, but Audrey's mom is, and she is coming back immediately to go talk to our daughter. And at this point, right, Sophia and Sophia's mom look at each other like, we won, baby, we won. So Sophia kind of neglects her homework and doesn't do it till really late because Sophia and her mom and her dad are basically all sitting, watching the window, waiting for the car to pull up. And sure enough, this fancy BMW very quickly pulls into the driveway, and then Audrey's mom that they saw before walked on up, stomped in, went bum 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 on the door, starts slamming on the door. It opens up. She starts yelling immediately and walks into the house. And at this point, right, Sophia and her parents just look at each other like, oh my God. And about an hour later, after, they see Audrey's mom doesn't leave. She stays at the house. But about an hour later, they receive a text message from a number that they don't have saying, I'm so sorry, about my daughter. I had no idea that my daughter was actually still staying here. She said that, she goes to college 5 days a week and stays here on the weekends. I had no idea that she was staying here every single day, party. So this is Audrey's mom texting on her real number, I'm so sorry, this is insane. I had no idea. And also the fact that she, pelted your house. How much money do you want for the damages? And Sophia's mom just responds hey, we don't want any money. It's totally fine. We know it's not you guys. All we ask is that this just doesn't happen again, and that maybe your daughter, when she throws her parties, will be a bit more respectful of, other people and their time commitments. And, Audrey's mom is Audrey is not even going to be living at this house anymore. We're shipping her away to a college that will accept her midway through the beginning of the year. I'm sorry, but we're probably not going to be living in this house anymore. We're putting it up on the market soon. You guys were very, kind for not calling the police on our daughter for egging your house. You could have totally done that. Thank you for all your cooperation. And that was the end of the message. So once again, Sophia and her parents were without neighbors. But that's not
Click on the video on
necessarily a
screen
bad
right now.
thing.
I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.